guys, and welcome to Reflections. I'm Kirbanu, and this is the segment where I am sharing ideas, insights, and inspirational people with you. Today, I'm pretty excited to be in Paris, of all places, with the very fabulous Katie Donnely from Katie Donnely Photography. She's an American expat living in this beautiful French capital who specializes in sharing family photography with the world and really capturing that authentic family moment. Katie, welcome to the segment.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This is really cool.
So, Katie, in one sentence, can you tell us about yourself?
About myself, not my work.
You can go let's split it together. Okay. So I'm going to be diplomatic. Let's go one sentence about you and one sentence about what you do. 2 sentences.
Okay. I am an eternal optimist. I'm glass half full. And I'm also very real and can sometimes be blunt. And I think that's comes out in my pictures, in my art that I make, because I love when other people are real, and I think the moments that I'm drawn to in my photography are the ones where people, and especially kids, are just being a little weird and being funny and having a good time and just sharing a moment. There's movement, there's a life. It's not just, hey, sit over there and pose. It's, hey, sit over there and tell me what was your first date like? And, when I'm talking to someone who's here celebrating 30 years of marriage,
wow.
and, they haven't thought about first date in 30 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, I guess that was more than 2 sentences, but...
Totally fine. And so I think you've already explained kind of my next question, which is that you're a photographer. I really love what you just said about capturing real moments. Can you say a little bit more about that? What is your inspiration for that? Why do you do that?
So I think it's really important to see what real life is. And I realize that real life is not always happy moments. And we all have our, life can really be hard sometimes. And, but I think it's important to know, and especially for families, to know why you're going through the hard times together. So you have these beautiful moments with your family, and so your family could be you and your dog, or you and your significant other, or you and your children, or your mom, whoever, your best friend. But there's always going to be moments that are difficult, and you want to see why you're, I guess, on this adventure with this person or these people. And for my reason is that those happy reasons, those moments of giggles, spontaneous giggles, and first dates, and just kids being kids, and dropping their pants for no reason because they're just 2 and need to go to the bathroom there, and that's totally weird, but I think that's hysterical, and that's childhood, and that's family.
Yeah, I guess the first question is, why did you decide to pursue a career in photography? And the follow-up question is, why specifically family photography?
So I never thought I was going to be a family photographer when I first started. So really quick backstory. When I was a freshman in high school, my best friend and I were picking out our electives, and her older sister had taken photography, and we'd film photography where you're developing. And there was only one class for this elective. So, and we had never had a class together. So we're like, okay, we're going to take this photography elective, and we're definitely going to have a class together next year. And, it's cool, apparently. So the next year we both get into photography, except obviously there are 2 classes and we don't get the class together. But that's okay, because that's when I really started. I guess was really the first time where I felt like I could be, a little bit creative, and I didn't realize until I was a senior and I was going through the college application process and everything, and my mom turned to me one day, and I was applying for language majors because I love language, and now I live in France. It's just hysterical. So that's another passion, but I was like, why? I don't get, why aren't you applying to art school? I guess I'd never thought that you could. I'd never met a photographer before in my life. Wow. I'd never seen professional portraits ever. And other than, I'd seen, the modern portraits and the MoMA and things like that. But I was like, I'm not an artist. So it started like that, and then I applied to at that time the best photography school in the U.S. and I was like, if I get in, I'm going. It's meant to be. I kind of just left it up to the universe. If I don't, I'm fine. I'll go to real college. And so I got in, and so I went. And when I was in, so we had to do these big portfolios, and at the end, when the first time I did a big family portrait, I remember running to our portrait photographer, or portrait professor, I guess.
Yeah.
And showing him and be like, what could I do better, and how is this and everything. And he was like, in 5 years you're gonna write me and you're gonna tell me you own a portrait business. And I was like, never, I don't like doing this isn't fun. And like 5 years later, I mean, well, more than 5 years later I'm doing it, but 5 years later I was already doing it for 3 years.
That's so funny.
And so yeah, so that's how I got into photography. And then families, so when I got out of school, I worked for an advertising photographer, and I didn't like the idea that everything was fake around me.
Okay.
For me, I just felt the industry was fake, the beauty industry and fashion, and the moments were fake, and the clothes, they didn't look as good in real life as you made them look in the photos. I don't know, just nothing jived with me. And after I spent 6 months with this amazing photographer, and I learned so much. And then I got recruited and worked for a high-end family portrait studio in Manhattan. We took workshops, we learned from other photographers, and I just realized that I loved it and I was good at it. I guess before, what scared me was that kids are crazy and uncontrollable at some kids and some ages, but now I'm like, that's really cool, because you can I like the organized chaos, and I think that's kind of what life is. No one is, if everything is structured and everything is routine, I don't know, that's not fun. It doesn't feel like living. It feels like you're just kind of waiting to die.
Wow.
It's like, I don't know, I don't think you should always know what to expect, what's coming next. So, and I like that about kids, because I think that's just so, it's true. It's 100% pure. What they want to do is what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I think it's, for other photographers, a lot of other couple of photographers are like, I can't work with kids. They're just, you can't tell them what to do. I'm like, well, I don't want to tell them what to do. I want to see what they want to do. And then I want to do that, because I want to kind of relive that moment of childhood with them.
Yeah.
So that's why family photography.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to hear how it evolved over time.
Yeah.
I really love that. And I also love what you just said about the resistance to it. I hate it, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then how you really, my interpretation of what you just said is really that growth mindset.
Yeah.
Really being open to learning and to seeing, how can I do this better? What else can I do? And
Yeah.
I really respect and love what you just said about, what do the kids want to do, instead of saying, you have to fit into my box.
Yeah, no.
Let me just follow your own inspiration.
Yeah.
And use that as the material for the art.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Respect. I like that very much. So in its evolution, I can imagine that, especially starting your own business and really, I think, having the balls to come to Paris, to a foreign culture, a foreign language, and to start your own company, which I think, and I know, is challenging. My question to you is, what are some of the challenges that you've faced, and how have you had to overcome them?
So I think, there are many challenges, and I think you make me sound much cooler saying oh, you came here and you're a bit there's so many times I've had so much help in just in support from my family and from my fiance and from the universe, just kind of filling in, pushing me this way when I need to be centered. Yeah, exactly. So it was all, now saying this 4.5 years later, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, I did all these things, but it took a long time. It took everything, nothing was overnight. When I first came here, I didn't pick up a camera for 6 months because I was burned out from shooting in New York, and I didn't know if I wanted to still be a photographer, but I came here and to be with my fiance, but I studied French for a year.
Oh, beautiful.
And so I was in class 5 hours a day and studying French. And I remember coming home and being like mentally drained.
Yeah.
And just thinking like, gosh, like what? I just struggling with so many things. So my biggest struggle, and still in French, which is I'm not 100% my personality yet. And especially at the beginning, I remember asking my fiance, I'm like, your friends must think I'm just like a dry piece of toast. I'm so vanilla and like just lame in French. I can speak like a 6-year-old. This is not cool. I'm intelligent, and I want them to know that. And then the second thing, what I would say, is culture. The culture here is obviously Western culture, and but it's still different. You're eating at different times. There are different expectations. And so just kind of learning that. And the biggest thing I learned when I first got here, I think, was that I just had to accept that different is different.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not better. It's not worse. So it's, you can say, there's so many people who come here, and I have friends, and there's so much resistance because like, this isn't like home. It doesn't feel like home. Like, well, obviously, then just don't go back.
Yeah.
Don't be here. But there's a reason why you're here. I don't know. And so you have to accept, there's obviously things that I don't like, but there's so many things that I would just now totally embrace. And now that's a part of who I am.
Yeah.
And so building a business has been a learning experience. I have made so many mistakes. So many. I make mistakes every day. But I'm also, I would say they're good mistakes because they're learning experiences. And so I've learned so much. When I was really lucky in the fact that first year that I lived here, I didn't need to work because I was in school. And so I could work when I wanted to, and I could build my brand little by little. And my brand didn't start out then what it is now.
Yeah.
It evolves, and I think just like any brand or any creative, you're constantly evolving. I think any successful creative constantly wanting to say, what can I do better? Even if this is great, I'm not going to stop here. I'm not going to say, okay, that's great. Like, let me just put this to the side, maybe for a few minutes, but I'm still going to keep an eye on that and say, okay, yeah, now we need to like just reevaluate and see if that still fits. So it's just honestly, little by little. It's not overnight. My brand grew with me, and I was growing. And then now, thankfully, I'm at a point where I can also now say, okay, my brand is developing beyond me. And, now I'm starting to think about hiring people and partnering and look in other directions to kind of expand, and how we can do this in a way that keeps the core values of Katie Donnely photography, which is, happiness and, being okay with being different, and just being okay with being you.
Yeah.
And so I think as my brand has grown, it started from me not feeling good in my own skin, I guess. And, everyone goes through that. And so as I felt better, I guess, with myself, my confidence grew, my brand confidence grew, because it's a part of me. It's, it's very much, you look at my site and everything, it's very deliberate. The colors, even, yellow. Like, yellow makes me so happy. It makes me think of, like, sunshine and, how the sunset is, over, like, Maine. I don't know if you've ever been to Maine, but, over the Atlantic in Maine. Like, these are things that make me happy. And it makes me, like, feel like the color yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all there, but it's very personal choices. But it's little by little. None of that happened overnight.
So your advice for people would be to have patience and to keep going.
Wouldn't be to have patience. I mean, I think it's important to know things move at their own speed, but I think my advice would be to forgive yourself. For making mistakes.
Wow.
And forgive other people for leading you in maybe wrong directions sometimes, because they don't know They don't know they're leading you in the wrong directions. They don't know that they're giving you bad advice because they think it's good advice, and so you're taking it. So I think it's just, I guess it's forgive yourself and learn to trust yourself, and that it's so okay to make, it's good, like you should be making mistakes.
Yeah.
If you're not failing every day and realizing that failure and then saying, okay, so what am I learning from this? Like, you're just like, you're done. Don't go into business because you're going to fail all the time, and you have to be okay with that.
So Katie, I think you've answered most of my questions, but I always like to ask one very special question at the end, which is, if there was one thing or one message you could leave the world with, what would it be?
So I have two. The first one, and it's very hard to feel it, but it's the truth, and it's that you are enough and you're worthy of whatever you want, whatever you desire, worthy of having your health and having healthy relationships, and you're worthy of your business, and you're worthy of a raise, and you're worthy of happiness in general. And the second is, which it has just come back into my life so many times, it's about love. And love is a choice. It's not something that falls from the stars. I think it's, I do believe in destiny, but I think that just like anything, it's just like watching a plant grow, and, if you say mean things to it, it's not going to grow. If you don't water it, it's not going to grow. You have to choose to water it. You have to choose to fertilize it and make funny jokes, and you have to choose to love and to be in love too. So I think that this year has been my big revelation.
Wow.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much
welcome.
for being open, and this is the first time we've ever met, so thank you so much for being open to coming on this experience with me, to hanging out in this beautiful park.
Well,
this is
quick thing. Okay, it's super quick. So when I first moved to Paris, I lived like 2 minutes walking from here, and this was what I walked through every day to go home. And this is where I feel at home in Paris. I love this park. So that's why.
Awesome. Guys, everything you need to know about Katie is going to be in the box below, including her social media. I know she's pretty active on Instagram and doing some very cool Insta stories, which I watched a few of. Her portfolio, her website, anything like that. If you have friends in Paris, be sure to send them her way. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see a vlog where Katie is also appearing, then click on the latest vlog link. Bye for now, guys.
Bye.